Good evening, everyone. So, as promised, we're going to look at data-driven decision making for SMEs, and this is the agenda that we are going to look at today. We're going to ask ourselves what DDDM is, what CRISP DM is, what PwC says we should do when we are doing decision making based on data. And then we go into, after all these theories, a little bit about how can the small business person who is sitting in West Africa take advantage of this. And we look at a few examples from social media and Google Forms. So DDDM is an acronym, like you must have observed, for data-driven decision making. And I want to elaborate a bit on that. In the second line, you see that it's an alternative to intuition, to guesswork, to what we call experience. And the truth is that a lot of times when you're running a small business, you don't really have time or the drive or the motivation to pay attention to certain levels of detail. You just want to carry on your business and make the money you're making every day or every week or every month. Excuse me. But we are kind of like contrasting that behavior with a behavior that says, I want to actually know the numbers. I want to know how much do I make a week? How much do I make a day? On what day of the week do I have my best sales? Which of my products are really selling? Where are my customers coming from? What kind of people are my customers? Typically, when you look at data, you can split data into various kinds. We can talk about customer data, product data, transaction data, financial data, and all that. And roughly, you can group them into those classes. And any level of business can do that kind of grouping and begin to ask questions. The value of data to you is often dependent on the kind of questions you want to get answered. When you start answering the questions or looking for the answers to the questions, what happens is you are able to make better decisions based on reality. Data, when we say data, we're not just talking about some mathematics written on a board. We're talking about collecting or finding data relevant to your business and asking yourself, what does this mean to me? If you find out that your best sales are on Sundays, you need to find out, why is this? What does Sunday have to do with the product that is selling? Or you want to find, oh, most of the people who come to my shop are women. Then you ask yourself, what is the attraction to this sector, to this segment of the demographics that is made that is given this situation? So basically, we're distinguishing data-driven decision making from our normal way of taking decisions in our business, intuition, guesswork, or what we call experience. Remember that experience is in the past. If we keep making decisions based on the past, we're probably not ready for the future. But if we make decisions based on current data, we are following the trends. So we need to understand that concept, the concept of being able to decide on things, say, okay, because I know my best sales are on Sundays, I'm going to bring more products on Sundays. Because I know that most of my customers are women, I'm going to look for products that, pertain to women. So you have to first of all gather that data before you know what next step you need to take based on what the data is telling you. All right. So there is this model or framework called the CRISP DM, the Cross Industry Standard Process for Data Mining. Now, when you hear these big words, it looks like it's something remote, something too far-fetched, something that is not just for you, but that is not true. These tools are processes in essence. It's not about the tool. We're not asking you to go and buy some expensive software or something. We're just saying, can you try to understand the process and know how it applies to your business? The cross-industry standard is made to apply to a wide range of industry types, and there are 6 phases. We say these phases are cyclical. That means they are iterative. When you follow step 1, step 2, step 3, you can see something in step 3 that makes you go back to step 1, make some changes and come back through the steps. So it's 6 phases, and it's a process thing. It's not about the tool. It's not about whether you have 5,000 people in your company or you have 5 people. It's a process that you can adopt and follow. And you need to also know that it's a framework. It's not a religion. You're not going to go to hell if you don't follow all the steps. It is a framework. So you need to find out which aspects of this process, this framework, apply to me. Which one can I adopt? Which one can I apply in my personal business? That is the real thing. It's not a religion. It's a framework. It's like, okay, work within this set of ideas. These are the ideas we're giving you. Try to see how it fits into your business. And here are the 6 steps. First of all, the first step of the CRISP DM process is business understanding. Business understanding. You, as the CEO of a small business, are the best person who can tell us what your business is about, who can tell us what kinds of data are important for your business. I mean, data is just the pieces of, I will, for the purpose of this class, call it the pieces of information that are relevant to your business. Who are your customers? What are their names? Some people do not know their customer names. They know their customer names at a high level, so to speak. They don't know the customer that stopped coming last week because somebody else has come closer to him. But if you have a way of capturing your customer data, and when we say data, a lot of people think, oh, that means I have to buy a database. A database is a concept that can be implemented on a sheet of paper. A sheet of paper can record your database. You can have your names of the people who have ever patronized on paper. You can have their contacts on a sheet of paper if you want. And these days it's even better because there are free tools to use to capture this data and be able to use them. First of all, understand your business. What am I doing and what questions am I trying to answer? Am I trying to answer what is the next product I should go into based on the data available to me? Am I trying to answer what is the best method to grow my business? Am I trying to answer, will social media work for me? Those are things. You see, in these days, let me just use that social media to give a strong example of the difference between data-driven decision making and just intuition or guesswork. Typically, everybody is going online. Most people are going online. But few people realize that my business is not meant for online. You can realize that based on simple common sense intelligence, or you can also gather the data and say, okay, if I put up a Facebook page, now how many people actually come to my page? How many sales am I making because I have a Facebook page? Or am I just wasting my time and effort and energy maintaining that page? So you need to understand your business, understand the questions you're trying to answer in order to determine how to proceed with this process. The next step is the data understanding. That means you need to know, what am I collecting? What do I need to collect? Because in this phase, this is the phase where you collect the data somehow. Is it going to be primary data? Primary data is data you collect yourself. Or is it going to be secondary? Is it going to be data from the government, from for example, Ghana Statistical Service? Or is it going to be from secondary data from social media platforms, or the analytics platform that will tell you that, look, based on what we are seeing, you are not doing well on Facebook. You're wasting your time. I mean, data can tell you that. Data can tell you that. So you need to know, what data do I need to collect? When you're doing something like Google Forms and collecting information and feedback, do I need their names? Do I need their phone numbers? Do I need their email? Am I ever going to use their email addresses? Do I need their addresses? What do I need to pick from my customers to constitute my customer data? What do I need to record about the products I'm buying, about my finances, about my sales, about the money I'm spending, in order to make sure I can arrive at decisions that will move my business forward? So after you understand your business, understand the data you need and how you're going to collect that data, then data preparation. That means you want to organize the data in such a way that you can see a clear picture and then model that picture. Modeling means, for example, you put it into graphs if you want to go a bit that far. Sometimes for a small business, you may not even need all that modeling things. You can visualize that your data set is small enough for you to visualize it, think about it, and know what it is telling you, and then you evaluate that model, whatever. If you do arrive at that model, that the model is basically a representation of your data. It can be a chart that says, okay, half of my customers are young people, for example, or that says, okay, a quarter of my customers are very rich people, they can buy more, and then you evaluate all that, all the picture that your data is given to you, and then you deploy your model. When you say you deploy, that means you now determine the decision you're taking and go ahead and take the decision and see it work in your business. Now, PwC summarized this plenty English, forgive my local language, that we are speaking in 4 terms. Number 1, discovery. Discovery is talking about, okay, let me find out what my business is about and find out what data that I need to have or need to collect. Insights, that means examine the data. It may mean doing Excel sheets or graphs to just run through it and come out with certain kinds of pictures that give you proper understanding of the data. And then action, that means you now make a decision based on what the data is saying, not based on what you feel. And then you examine the outcomes. Is it working? Is it not working? If it's not working, you go back to the beginning. Discovery, insights, action, outcomes. Discovery, insight, action, outcomes, and on and on. So we just want to take a look at some examples in this case, right? So now, basically, a small business, most of us are now on social media. So I'm going to show a bit of an example from Facebook Analytics. So I'll just show it as an example. Now, this is my page, for example, and every now and then there's a post. You make a post. One of the things that Facebook does is it gives you an overview of how many people are responding to your, whether it's videos or whether it's your posts, whatever it is. What kind of engagement are you getting? Let's go to the viewing site. Now, when you are able to see this, let's say I go to my posts, I can see further into whether my posts are actually reaching people. You may be doing posts for educational purposes. You may be doing posts for marketing purposes. And maybe you're not even doing anything like boosting or ads, and you want to find out what is the best time to do this post. What is the best time? And my graph here tells me that I have the biggest audience on Sundays, right? This is 679 up thereabout. So I have my biggest audience between Saturday and Sunday. And if I want, I can drill down a little further into the times. Let's see. What is the time when I have my biggest attention? 773, 775. That is by on noon is my biggest attention time. That means I can decide that when I want to post an advert, I can schedule it to go out at noon on a Sunday or noon on a Saturday. It just, the variation is just that, like that. So you decide when best to utilize that. This, what I'm using now, is secondary data. It's Facebook that gathered this data based on the activities on my page. Yours may be different. Yours may be different, and you decide, okay, I want to leverage this. This is data that somebody has collected. There's another site called Google Trends, trends.google.com. Assuming you're on social media, you want to go out and do an advert and you want to ask yourself, if I say, what are people looking for now? I'm sure they would allow me to search for COVID. Let's see. Okay. All right. So you find out that people started searching for COVID intensely from February 16, 2020, and the search like 100% up till now. It's going a bit down. That's the kind of trends that are going on in the world right now. If I search for, let's say, farming, let's just do farming. Sorry. I can tell that there's quite a lot of search on this. Let me do a contrast with a word like Igiri, just my name. Nobody is searching for Igiri, really. Well, once in a while somebody searches, but I mean, nobody is not like an actively searched word. The point is, when you want to do an advert, you may want to use this data that is already available. Right, assuming you wanted to collect the data yourself, there are many ways to do it. One of the ways I do it is by using Google Forms. And recently, I did a data collection for an academic purpose with looking for how people respond to bulk SMS and USSD. Now, let's look at one of the results here. One of the things I need to point out in this method is you really have to work hard to collect data directly in this fashion, because it appears a lot of people are not so enthusiastic about responding to surveys. So you have to give incentives, and incentives can be in a variety of ways. An incentive can be you invite people for a training, a free training, and you're able to pick their data. They supply their names, their contact details, and possibly their email addresses from you. You collect from them rather, and you're able to use that at a later time. I can show you one or two ways to use that. And then you may also want to do something like offering something free. If people are able to register or make a request for it free. Let's say you have a service, for example, for something like me, I can have an ebook, and I say, okay, if you want this ebook, register here and I'll send you a copy of the ebook. You have maybe a number of people register. It costs you little or nothing to share the ebook because you're intellectual property, and you're able to get that data. And of course, when you're collecting data like this, you have to also be mindful of where you are. Some regulations require some certain restrictions in what kind of data you can collect from people and what you can use that data for rather. So one of the things you want to do is to when you're collecting that kind of data, you need to let the people know, this is why I'm collecting it. Maybe it can be your description. This is why I'm collecting this, and this is what I'm going to use it for. That way, if there's any contention, it will be clear that the person was aware of what he was doing when he was filling the form. So you can, like I said, use an incentive. If you're offering free training, ask people to register and you'll be able to gather the data. If you're offering a free product, you can ask people to request for the product by registering, and you'll be able to get their data. One of the key things this thing can do for you is to get customer data for you. Let me give you an example of that here. We have the Yenshare program every quarter, and this is the form that we use to collect the registrations. Yenshare is a free program, but I can collect registrations and say, okay, I want to know the email. I want to know. That way you register ahead of time. You don't have to come to the event and write down things. You register ahead of time with your name, email, phone number, and all that, and whether you want to do something during the form. This is a very simple form, but what can I do with this form? I can actually do what you call a mail merge and be able to mail people who have responded, with my other products. If I'm a business person, I can mail I can send them adverts on my other products. I can ask them to follow me on social media. I can ask them to come for the next event. I can build an audience with this data. Now, I can add other things to this. I can decide that I want to create a form that is a feedback form. Let's just do one quickly. Let's just do one quickly. Maybe someone doesn't know how to do it and start from a blank space. Of course, for this, you need a Google account. And I say, okay, this is feedback form. Yeah, sorry. And I want to say, okay, you attended, or let's make it like a business. You visited the, what do you call it? The Igiri mobile shop on Tuesday, and we would like to get feedback on your experience. Okay, so quite simple. You can put the description you are giving here and the details of what you're using the data for, and then you begin to ask your questions. So what is your name? This is a simple one. And then maybe you want to say what do you call it, where do you stay, what do you call it, area, and ask for the area he stays. Accra, you can, oh, Accra, okay, let's say Ridge, let's say this is in Accra, circle, let's say Ablekuma, and so on and so forth. So this is multiple choice, this is straight answer. And then you ask, okay, what would you like us to improve? Now, you can ask many other questions specific to your business. Remember when we started, we said you need to first of all understand your business and then understand your data. Your understanding of the business will determine what kind of data you collect. Once you collect this and what you intend to use it for, like in this case, all I'm doing, I'm collecting customer data, customer feedback, and I can use it to contact the customer, to improve my product, to improve my process and all that. And that, simplistically speaking, is data-driven decision making. By the time you collect, let's say 30 responses or 50 responses, you can see the pattern in the data. You can see, okay, this is what people are saying. Because I can tell you for free that your product will sell not because you like the product. It will sell because the customer likes the product. If the customer doesn't like the product, then you are expending energy unnecessarily, right? So you need to determine, does the customer like the product or not. Now, I mentioned mail merge to be able to send emails if you're asking for an email on this form. For phone numbers, you can subscribe to one of the bulk SMS platforms and be able to send messages like greetings. The customer will feel that, okay, this my salesperson is connecting with me. That is, even the biggest companies do it. The biggest banks, the biggest telcos, they send messages to their customers saying happy birthday, greetings, and all that. You can adopt it, especially when you see the effort is not so expensive. Maybe you have 30 customers, and when it's time for certain celebrations, you're able to send them messages and say, oh, this is from me. Thank you for being for your loyalty. I want you to patronize me more. The next week you send another one and say, we have new stock, be with us. Some people like to do this with things like WhatsApp. It's fine, broadcast. But if you can leverage the personalized bulk SMS, some platforms provide that functionality. You can address the person by name and say, Kenneth, thank you for coming to our shop on 26th October. We'd like to see you more often. I mean, it's a whole new level that you can explore, and you can do that because you're collecting data. You know where the person is, you know what the person likes, you know when the person came to your shop. So those are aspects of data driven. You can see it's quite simple. You don't need sophisticated tools. You just need to follow the simple processes that are defined in some of the frameworks that we see. So what else am I missing? We just got the customer feedback. Now, one of the ways that these will even work for you, I mentioned the issue of training. I mentioned the issue of using it to collect feedback. If you're doing training online, especially this period when a lot of businesses are going downwards, you can decide to market your knowledge, organize trainings, and collect these registrations on forms, and then later upsell. There's something called upselling. From the data you've collected, you now decide what else you can sell to the person. So these are some small aspects of data-driven decision making. When you read about these concepts online or in textbooks, a lot of it pertain to big companies that are doing things like AI, that are doing machine learning and all that. But the truth is the concepts can be brought down to a level where they are useful to SMEs. And that is what I've tried to do in a little way this evening. Thank you very much for your audience, and do share the videos, like videos, give me your feedback. If you have questions, ask questions on the video and I'll respond. Have a great day.